Hello again, everybody. Joey Only here up in Wells, BC, 3,953 feet above sea level up in the Caribou Mountains. That's right, here I am. And people were asking me after this episode I made recently. It was the episode about the kids rescuing the people up on the mountain. You can find it. I'll post the video at the end of the... post the link at the end of the video here in the end screen. You can find it yourself. It's pretty funny stuff, actually. But it got me asking some questions. And it made me realize I'd never quite considered the fact that people are relying on AI to plan their travel plans. They're using AI to plan hiking trips. Like, folks, I'll tell you this, AI has never climbed a mountain. Like, they don't know what it feels like, what it's like. They just don't know. Anyways, so we were talking in that episode about the death by GPS, and people were asking me to talk more about GPS. I'm going to talk a little bit about all of it. I'm going to talk about the top 10 death by GPSs. We'll talk about that a little bit. And I also, at the very end of this, I decided to go to AI itself and ask AI. So I asked it, will over-reliance on GPS and AI actually result in humans becoming less capable of doing basic things? Is this an evolutionary race to the intellectual bottom that is going on? You're going to be somewhat amused by AI's response to this query. It's like they understand that they are making human beings redundant. It's like the Terminators will rise sooner than later. Like they are dumbing us down and they're aware of it. Holy cow, it's wild. Okay, hit like, share, subscribe. Let's get on with the show. Let's go.
Sketched out. Getting angrier.
You never know what can happen.
Things are going on, Here she comes.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind becoming a channel member too, there's extra content there if you want to support independent media, small-time creators, things like that. It's one of the best ways you can do it, or join the Patreon. I put special things up on both places so that members get access to things that are, special. Stuff that sometimes I give my opinion on things that I don't want the whole world to see it, and it's pretty funny or whatever. Stuff that copyright said you can't air this. I said, well, okay, members only. So some cool compilation videos. Anyways, you get the point. So let's talk about death by GPS. It's a colloquial term for incidents where individuals are injured or die because they blindly follow GPS navigation instructions. Right? They go into dangerous places, inappropriate areas. They go to closed roads, remote wilderness, bodies of water. They drive off of bridges into the water, So, like, I don't know how much time I have for this video, but I'd love to talk about the hippocampus. It's like the human part of the brain. It's like the front part of the brain where you have your direction-finding skills. And some people have a large head with a large hippocampus, and they have very good sense of direction. Some people have basically no hippocampus at all. But the thing is, like, you can actually exercise this hippocampus. You can have a really good one and waste it away and make it less, valuable. And you can have a somewhat weak hippocampus, but, work on your sense of direction, work on your ability to see yourself as an object in space, like, in a multi-dimensional world. And I like to even imagine myself in a four-dimensional world. Sometimes I think history ahead and history behind me and the future ahead, and I'm standing in a place, this place, what is this place? Think about things in a 4D way. Anyways, so that, how do you, nurture this hippocampus? How do you nurture this ability to have a sense of direction, like the way that I can sense where Likely is, where Williams Lake is, where Quesnel is, where Prince George is, where Edmonton is, where Calgary is, have that sense as I'm sitting here that up the road is the Wells Hotel. There's people inside it maybe having drinks still at this hour at night. There's people in beds. See the world, see the world around you, not just what's the limits of the wall right there, but imagine yourself in a wide space. It's like, how did I develop this uniquely? I spent a lot of time in the wilderness and a lot of time in the woods growing up. A lot of time by myself. That really helped. But also, I was an only child, so Mom and I would drive around, and I was always the one with the map in my lap. And I think that really helped me. I had this insane interest in geography, and I think my interest in weather is much related to that, and it's been there, So certainly I did things that helped me become, just a stud when it comes to direction out there. I'm always the guy who knows where everything is, what's going on around me, right? And, the people who've worked on fires with me or gone in the wilderness with me, they know this. So take my word for it or not, I don't fucking care. Okay, so the phenomenon of death by GPS. It's attributed to technological limitations and human error. Specifically, we have this uncritical acceptance of turn-by-turn commands over common sense and environmental awareness. These incidents have occurred all over the world. So, let's talk about uncritical obedience first of all. It's like, turn left. And then you're like, well, that's a swamp, but they do it. And, I could think of one, like I got this top 10 list. I can think of one where the bus driver drove a bus into a bridge that was too low in Pennsylvania. And this is one of the first ones. I don't know if it's going to be on the list or not here tonight, but one of the first ones where I thought, like, what the heck? Like, and the guy had driven the route for 20 years, but the bus company was like, you have to go by the GPS. They told him you has to. This is back like 20 years ago or whatever. Sketchy. So uncritical obedience, it's just like turn off your brain. Now I don't have to think. Like, I don't like to use my GPS at all until I'm like 3 minutes from someone's house, where it's like I don't want to have to like drive slowly down the street and try to look at everyone's number on their house. Okay, hey phone, like take me to 343 whatever friggin' place. So off we go. Okay, but it's like I want to like be able to plan my trip ahead of time. Like I'm going to go from here to Calgary. I'm like going to visualize out how am I going to get there. It's like, well, I'm going to go to this, yada yada yada. Not like leave my house and drive through highways I've driven on many times in my life. Like there's not one highway between here and Calgary I haven't been on many times. I've been to Calgary many times. Why would I need a GPS to tell me how to get there? I know how to get there. Trust your sense of direction, but when you need it, turn it on, because you might just fall into this habit of uncritical obedience where you basically just have this form of automation bias where you don't really pay attention to what's going on around you because the machine, either AI or GPS, is telling you, like, just do it. Okay, so then sometimes these systems have incorrect maps or they're outdated, so they put people on the roads that are closed or don't even exist anymore, or unpaved, or have physical limitations. Unpaved one's a big one. A lot of people don't have vehicles with good tires on, with thick ply tires, so they just go down some friggin' side road and they're fucked. Sometimes they don't have, there's missing environmental data that happens too. So the GPS system, they don't account for real-time hazardous conditions like flooding, snow, or construction, or any of that stuff that'll hoop you. GPS might select the shortest route, regardless of whether it's safe to take that route by your vehicle, maybe a rough logging road. Lack of situational awareness. This is another one. What happens is once you start relying on the GPS, your driver or a hiker or whatever, they stop building the mental map because they're just following, and they're talking, blah, 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 turn left here. You're walking around the mountain, and everything's nice and enjoying yourself and you're having a nice conversation with your friend, and just go where the thing tells you. And I see this too in Wildfire, where everything went to this mapping system that's on everyone's phone, and drop the map into everyone's Avenza, and everyone has the Avenza map now, but now nobody's paying attention to what they're actually doing because they're all looking at the Avenza map, and and you got to find a hot spot, and you're following the map, and then again, you're not really, like I noticed consistently with people around me on fires, like they're not building that cognitive mental map, and like part of it starts with like stop looking at the ground all the time. If you're walking around, like you get into that city habit of being like a Westerner, and like you just walk at the ground, look at your feet so you don't make eye contact with anybody. Well, once you're out in the woods, abandon that habit, please. Look around, look behind you, look up, look down, look all around all the time. Anyways, also carry a physical map, please. If get good at using a physical map, especially an accurate one. You can use it in conjunction with a GPS. Learn how to use a compass. Learn how to use a map and compass. Learn how to, actually get good at orienteering. And then remember too that even the compass can be swayed by the magnetic pull of things around you. Back where I grew up at McKnight Lake or places like that there in southern Ontario, where you get in those high iron belts and your compass goes off 10-15 degrees. Don't trust your compass too much. All right, make sure you inform other people if you're useless. I never do, and and that's like sometimes I've had to like walk home over the years from the wilderness, and I don't necessarily advocate that, but it's just my stubbornness. Oh well, like I don't want anyone to come save me. I'll just walk home. and luckily Bart did pick me up the last time, as I still had about 36 kilometers to walk still to the Barkerville corner from Caribou River. Be prepared. So I had to have extra water, food, other survival essentials, or just be mentally prepared on top of that, or have all those things and be mentally prepared. Your state of mind is a big thing. So anyways, we're going to talk to you now about, in no particular order actually, the top 10 examples. Well, we'll start at number 10 though. I don't know if, which one's the worst one or not, but this is the top 10 I got for you. Number 10, Pamela and Michael Athay in Arizona, 2016. Now, traveling this married couple, they followed their GPS to this remote unpaved road in the mountainous region of Arizona. The vehicle got stuck in snow and ice, and it left them stranded. Michael tried to walk for help but died of exposure. Pamela was found alive with their dogs in the car days later. Number 9, Japanese tourists in Australia, 2012. This group of Japanese tourists there drove their rental car into the ocean after following GPS directions to North Stradbroke Island. We talked about this one, I believe, so on the last episode there. The device failed to account for the body of water that separated them from their destination. Although no one died, they had to be rescued, and the incident is cited as a classic example of GPS misdirection. Then we had the Corella doctors in Corella 2023. Actually, what I meant to say was number 8. The Corella doctors, 2023. So these two doctors in India drowned because their GPS told them drive straight through a waterlogged road that was actually a deep river. It wasn't a road at all. I've seen this too where we were trying to take a GPS up in the north there, up by not quite to Fort Nelson, but we had this trying to take a shortcut over to where the camp was, basically, that we were all the wildfire fighters were at. It was like an oil camp. And they told us to go down this thing, but basically we got more and more of a sketchy path, and it came into like this dried up riverbed that we probably could have drove through because, why not? 4x4 looked doable, but that's when I had the good sense as the crew leader to be like, well, obviously this isn't working. So we turned around and nothing happened. We didn't take a shortcut. It was best that we didn't, but it was worth the try. It was a really nice road for about 6 kilometers. Number 7. Silas Wrigley, Oregon, 2015. So this 69-year-old man was driving from Idaho to his home in Oregon, and his GPS led him onto a remote logging road there. He got stranded in the rugged terrain and was found dead 2 weeks later from hypothermia and friggin' exposure, dudes. Number 6, Zorha Hussein, Indiana, 2015. Zorha Hussein was killed when the car she was riding in, driven by her husband, followed GPS directions onto an unfinished interchange in East Chicago. The car plummeted 40 feet into the ground, but not just that, it also burst into flames, killing her, severely injuring her husband. He actually survived it. Number 5, Indian men, Uttar Pradesh, 2024. A group of 3 friends from Delhi followed Google Maps instructions in heavy rain and drove their car off an unfinished bridge. They fell 50 feet into the Rampanga River. 2 of the men died, highlighting the risks of driving on GPS during adverse conditions. Carlos Sanchez, Death Valley, 2009. So during this camping trip, Alicia Sanchez and her 11-year-old son Carlos got lost in Death Valley after their GPS directed them down a sandy, unpaved road. Right around that time, they were thinking, I wonder why they call this place Death Valley. Then their vehicle got stuck and they got stranded. Alicia was rescued, but ridiculously sad. Her son died from heat and dehydration. Okay, I got 3 more for you, but I'm going to talk to you quickly about my question to AI. Will over-reliance on GPS and AI actually result in humans becoming less capable of doing basic things? Is this an evolutionary race to the intellectual bottom that's going on? Okay, drum roll, please. Let's hear this one. Yes. There's significant scientific evidence, AI says, to suggest that over-reliance on GPS and AI can lead to a decline in specific human cognitive abilities, particularly spatial memory and critical thinking. Experts warn this cognitive offloading could lead to a form of mental atrophy if not used in a balanced way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the core issues in the brain's use it or lose it problem, like basically the more you use it, the better off you are. So, like they say to people when they're getting older, like if you don't want to get dementia, keep reading books, keep singing, keep doing things. When technology automates a task that used to require mental effort, the brain reallocates those resources elsewhere or lets those neural pathways weaken. So, you want to keep an active brain, especially the hippocampus, which is a part of the brain that you can really actually increase. You can really actually increase your sense of space. Critical thinking and problem solving is another one it identifies there. It says using AI to generate instant answers or solutions can short circuit the productive struggle. I understand the irony of what I just did here, folks, asking AI if AI is making me stupider. Is it... I want to have a deep understanding, resilience, analytical skill development, but studies have found a negative correlation between frequent AI use and critical thinking abilities as users engage less in independent analysis and in judgment, right? So memory, the Google effect, the tendency to forget information because we know we can look it up now is a known phenomenon. That's something I've even said, like, while this frees up mental energy, we use our internal systems less and less and less and less. So therefore, we're actually becoming a little less sharp, right? So, the Google effect, it's like, I don't have to know the answer. I just have to know where to find the answer, right? So is there an intellectual bottom? And it says, well, balance is key, and experts don't say you should abandon technology. The issue arises when the tool replaces human thinking rather than augmenting it. Okay, good point. So we have number 3 now on our ridiculous list. Brazilian tourists in Rio de Janeiro. We got 2 of them here in Rio in 2015 and 2016. So in 2015 there, Regina Murmura, okay, a 70-year-old grandmother and her husband, they drove into a dangerous favela, which is like a neighborhood, right? Like a dangerous neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro. You can kind of imagine what kind of dangerous neighborhoods are probably on the outskirts and the flesh pots of Rio there. They were shot at, actually, and she was killed, so it didn't go very well. But a year later, Italian tourist Roberto Bardella was also shot and killed in GPS disaster in a favela in Rio, because he thought, like, well, maybe I could have better luck. Okay, so now we come to number 2 on our list, and it is these people from British Columbia who I thought it was bizarre that their name was Chrétien even. It's like the Canadians on the list have the name Chrétien. It's just so weird. Albert, sorry, I got to do it properly. No, drum roll, please. Number 2, Albert Chrétien in Nevada, 2011. So on their way to a conference, Albert and Rita Chrétien's GPS sent them down a remote, unmaintained logging road that was impassable in their snow. Their van got stuck and Albert left to find help. He succumbed to exposure. Rita, though, survived for 2 months before being rescued. 2 months. Imagine that, taking that. And the number one, Phil Paxton, North Carolina, 2022. He was the father of 2. He drowned when his Jeep Gladiator plunged into a creek he drove over. A bridge that had collapsed like 9 years earlier. Google Maps said, continue to show the washed out bridge as an active roadway. And they were sued, actually. They were sued for that. So that's unfortunate. Well, and so we got one that should have made the list and for some reason didn't make the list, and we're going to talk about this one right now. So the reason why she doesn't make the list officially is because she didn't die. Her name was Sabine Moreau. She was a 67-year-old Belgian woman who drove 900 miles to Croatia by accident. In 2013, she was going to go pick up a friend in Brussels, which is about 90 miles away. So she's going to go to Brussels, but instead she drove for 2 days, and she somehow didn't catch on. She's just like, well, it just kept telling her to drive. So she drove for 48 hours there. She lived in Hainault, Belgium. She had to go to a train station in Brussels. It should have taken her about an hour and a half, about 90 miles. That's a long way in Europe, I get it, but that's like how far I go for groceries up here in, the Northwest. She entered her destination in her TomTom GPS, but whatever. It was a glitch in the device or a glitch in her spelling or whatever. Took her across Europe instead of Brussels, and for 2 days she crossed through 5 international borders. She went through Germany, Austria, Slovenia, and eventually arrived in Zagreb, Croatia. Despite seeing roadsides change language from French and Dutch to German and finally Croatian, she just kept going. She said, I was distracted, so I kept driving. She was distracted for 2 days. Just, her friends at the train station just like, what? Where are you? Like, what happened? It's probably like calling the police, like, what's her name here? Sabine is missing. So she stopped for gas multiple times. She even took naps in the car and didn't realize how far she traveled, She only realized something was wrong when she reached the outskirts of Zagreb that saw an unfamiliar language, and she finally called home. Her son had reported her missing. See? Yeah, he reported her missing. And she was relieved she called him. She was safe and eventually drove home, making the incident a widely publicized humorous and cautionary tale about what you should never, ever do. Okay, well, that's the show for today. Hit like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time, friends. Bye now.